Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce, coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show. Welcome back to another episode of The Bane and Mickey Show.
The Bane and Mickey Show. Hello, hello.
What? This time we're going to be deep diving into one of the surprising new movies of 2019. I'm lying.
It was 2019. No, it was 2019.
Was it really?
Yeah, it came out.
I was right.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, today we're going to talk about Knives Out. A lot of people, maybe you did see it, maybe you didn't. That's okay.
But the people that did see it seemed to really like it.
Yeah.
As did we, so we're going to talk about it.
We are. But before we get into that, Gavin, have you seen anything good recently?
Have I seen anything good? I watched House of a Thousand Corpses for the first time. Oh, wait. I think I already told you about that.
You talked about that last time, yep.
In the last I've been watching Gravity Falls.
Oh, Gravity Falls, nice.
Yes, it's a very good show.
Okay.
Kendall, why don't you tell us what you saw recently while I go take care of my cat?
Okay. Yeah, recently I've been watching the new Great British Baking Show. There's a new season, and
I love that show.
Yep, because there's a new season, and I actually like when Netflix and HBO and whatnot. They do like the weekly release, which is I don't know, it's fun.
I like it.
Yeah, and I think I also talked about that last week too, like that nostalgia of waiting. That's weekly suspense. So
I just got caught up on The Boys.
Okay.
Which had a pretty stellar cliffhanger.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise, still doing my American Horror Story rewatch. I'm on Coven, which is not my favorite season. I know everyone's going to hate me for saying that, but it's okay. I need to rewatch it, and maybe that'll make me like it again more than the first time I saw it. Well, I've seen it like
If it makes you feel any better, I stopped watching during Coven, so...
Yeah, I was close. I was very close, but then the next, 3 seasons are some of my favorites, so... Yeah, it's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss. But that's where I'm at. Yeah. So, Knives Out.
Firstly, what a film that was.
What a film.
I really like... It was... It's fun, it's imaginative, it's new,
Yeah.
It's unexpected in a lot of ways. Also, we should say it now, spoiler alert, we're going to spoil some shit. So if you haven't seen it, be aware.
Do not listen to this if you have not seen Knives Out or if you care. I mean, yeah, it's going to happen. Okay, that was your warning.
But I mean, a completely stacked cast, a bunch of pancakes. Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like him because of Star Wars, but I think those people are idiots.
Well, so here's the thing, sure, it was maybe not his best, but he did what he could with what he was given. It's not his fault that the franchise was already downhill. Let's be honest. That's my hot take.
My hot take is that... Oh. Go ahead.
No, that's your hot take? Great.
No, my hot take is that I think Last Jedi is better than Rise of Skywalker, but that's probably just me.
Which one's better? Oh, Last Jedi?
Last Jedi, I think is better.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's probably mainly just me. Anyway, what were you saying? It's more on topic, I guess.
No, I love this movie. It's the classic whodunit, but it's a whole new take on it, which is just brilliant and refreshing, but not refreshing because it needs to be. I think refreshing in that it's made for a new era and a new generation. And I love mysteries and classics and, Agatha Christie, and I'll watch all of those, but there are plenty of people my age who have never even heard of her, let alone those stories. So kind of brings the genre into a new
I think that
audience.
One of the other refreshing things about it is that it's still modern, it takes place in the present,
yeah,
but it still finds a way to get around some of the technology in an interesting
Right.
way.
Yeah, which
Um,
yeah. It doesn't
and I think
rely
like
on the technology that you might otherwise
right,
assume a film like this made in the modern age might, I think the only
right,
technology they really rely on are emails sent back to and
and their
forth. And the
phones, but
phones, but
that's
not really. Like the kid has a phone, but it's not like they're relying on his phone for information.
and there's just a lot of really interesting details throughout the movie. So like if you only watch it once, you're not going to get like
Oh, it's a
the
movie that
full
you have to watch twice. Like I
experience.
recommend watching it at least twice because even just
Mm-hmm.
going back and watching it through once you know the conclusion, you can
Mm-hmm.
look for all these little details and all these little hints and stuff um, that you wouldn't notice otherwise. And I think, it's one of those films you have to watch more than once, for sure.
Right, and I think getting into the spoilers part of it, I think one of my favorite parts is like how they give it away, like who did it straight away,
Right.
and then it's sort of more like it's not about the who did it; it's more about the why they did it,
And the
what
how.
happened, and like kind of figuring out some of the other elements and like how they're going to get away with it,
Right.
and if they're going to get away with it, which I think
Yeah.
is a little more interesting.
I was thinking that, the first half of the film is the whodunit. It
Mm-hmm.
focuses all on the investigation, and it's kind of from LeBlanc's perspective as he's interviewing all the people. And then the second half is almost a different genre in that it's not who done it anymore. It's still mystery, but it is more of the how can we get away with it? How can we
Mm-hmm.
um right it in a way? How can we right the wrongs or whatever? So it
And the
it,
other
it is
interesting
kind of two
thing,
movies in a way.
mm-hmm, but in a good way, not
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
The Godfather
Right.
is two
Yeah.
movies.
And it's so
Um,
evenly split between them, I think.
mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like you're watching two separate things.
Right.
It just kind of naturally shifts into the other thing, and you're sort of playing catch up with like what. So if you think of kind of LeBlanc as sort of the main character, you're sort of playing like you know everything, but you're watching him kind of play catch up and puzzle it out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is interesting is like LeBlanc is supposed to be the super good detective, but like
Is
he's
he really
not.
though?
But that's how they like talk about him in
Yeah.
like that Sherlock Holmes vein, but it never really he never really lives up to that
Right.
throughout most of the movie until the end.
Right.
He's more like the bumbling detective.
Which is also in a way refreshing because it's not like, oh, he already knows the answer. It's just like he can come up with it right away. It's something that he actually has to work for it, which is
Hmm.
he's flawed. He's imperfect, and I think that's great because who wants to watch? Well, okay, I love Sherlock Holmes. Let's be honest, but sometimes if they automatically know the answer, they're perfect with everything, they have no troubles.
Hmm.
Then it's kind of like, why are you watching this? Why are you telling
It can
this?
get boring,
Yeah,
so you have to find like a new way to tell the sort of savant detective solving a mystery story, which I think Knives Out does really really well.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Plus, it's just like really freaking pretty. The
It looks
whole
so nice. There's so many, the cinematography and the lighting. That's something. There's so many shots that are so
the
reminiscent
chair of
of those
knives.
old classics, um,
Hmm.
especially with like shadowing half the face or only seeing the eyes. It's like you recognize those shots, but they're typically only black and white in those
Hmm.
old films. But oh, it's so nice. It's so wonderfully done. Um, yeah. What were you?
Plus, who didn't want Chris Evans' sweater?
I will say though, in term like the cast was like I have mixed feelings on the cast in that like I
Hmm.
know a lot of them were like I would love to have seen more new faces. You have Marta, which I love that she's the protagonist in a sense, alongside LeBlanc. And it's a new face and you get to kind of have this refreshing perspective on talent, but there's also like I don't hate the way they casted the family because it definitely all of those top billed names definitely gives each of the family members a personality and a real big dramatic character which is what the story needs in a sense, but also like,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there's the whole thing about like films. When you're pitching a film, you got to get those top billed names so that people will actually pay, producers will pay for you to make it. So,
Right.
it's one of those things, but
But I think one of the
it's
other
fine.
interesting things about having, like, you do have that sort of cast, and yeah, they're all pretty well known at this point.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like one of the other things, especially with some of the actors, like I would say Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, and like Jade Martell.
Yeah.
Um, I forgot her name, Hannah Baker from 13 Reasons. Like they have sort of a typecast
Right.
and
Yeah.
like a character that they're really known for. So this is a good chance for them to like break out, especially Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I think it was in those Marvel films. He might have been in one or two of those.
I thought it was DC.
Oh, you know what? I think it was Batman. That
Okay,
was what
that
it
makes
was.
sense. That makes sense. Yep. Okay, if you just turned off the podcast, obviously we were joking. Anyways,
We all know he's Captain Canada.
right. Maple
Like
syrup
everybody knows it.
poured over his head. Okay. Um
He's Captain America. We all know it. It was a joke.
yeah.
Please keep listening.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think no, I agree. I would say yeah,
Because
like
I feel like
Jamie.
Ransom is like the opposite
Oh,
of
oh yeah. He's so stuck
Captain
up
America
and
by far.
conceited.
Hmm.
Um but he is also still like the pretty face, like pretty boy kind of
Right.
thing. But I think I loved Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh,
And even
the best.
Michael Shannon. I don't know.
Hmm.
They just had great characters, and I think I agree with that. Like it gives them a chance to kind of have more, not more, maybe come out of that typecast. Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, the whole family is so chaotic and so dramatic, and they all did it very, very well. Um, so I can't
I
be
would say
mad.
my chief complaint from the family is that we didn't get enough of Ricky Lindholm because she's hilarious, and I would have liked to see more of her
Yeah,
doing stuff. And I
yeah.
really kind of wanted Jade Martell to get punched in the face for being a little Nazi
Oh
bitch.
my gosh. I know I feel like they kind of glossed over that a little too easily, but
Hmm.
it's fine. Um yeah, I don't know.
And then like some of the character quirks they have are super cool. Like Marta, she pukes when she
Oh
lies,
my gosh.
which is like a thing that is
Can we
that was
talk about that for a
hilarious.
second? Trigger warning, we're talking about puking and throwing up. Skip forward like 5 minutes. Um when that whole concept and characteristic is something, it's not unheard of. I mean, like, people could throw up for whatever reason. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
argue, but it's unheard of in this
Right,
genre.
right. In this context.
Like, you would never, in your right mind, well, I mean, they did, obviously. Someone in their right mind came up with it. But the whole idea that you have this so specific tell as to when you're
Hmm.
lying, like, it just makes for hilarious moments, but also pushes the story forward in not a way that it's only there. It's not there as a, like, it's there as a tool, but it's there as a useful, purposeful
Hmm.
tool. I'm think there,
It's not just for ha-has.
yeah, yeah. There's so many moments where it's like, yeah, yeah, it's yeah.
It kind of relieves tension in a lot of ways.
Right, right. Yeah, you have those suspense moments of like, oh shit, she's lying. They don't know she's lying. Is she going to be able to manage?
How's hmm
She throws up into a old big gulp cup in the
cup,
car.
right?
Um
Well,
and
I
then
think
but then those
especially
moments like at the end when Ransom takes her to breakfast and you're like,
hmm
"Oh shit, you're such a devil." Like you had this whole thing planned from the start, you know.
well, and they also like had spoiler at the end when it's revealed that Ransom did it, and she lies.
Oh my
But
gosh.
he thinks she's telling the truth, and then she, trigger warning, vomits in his face.
Oh man. That is that's an incredible moment, and I don't feel bad for Chris Evans, but
Nah,
also
not at all.
can we talk about how realistic that looked considering they had like a full-on close-up for like 5 minutes of him just covered in
Hmm.
puke? Um yeah, gross, beautiful in a gross way. Also, there's so many red herrings and and foreshadowing. Literally, we're told in the first scene to watch out or to know the difference between a real knife and a prop knife.
Right.
And then
And then it
right at the
comes
end,
back around.
it's the finale iconic moment.
Well, I feel like that's. I like Ryan Johnson. I think he's really good at those sorts of things. Like in like one of his other movies, Looper, I think is why that works. I feel
Uh-huh.
like honestly, the biggest problem with his Star Wars, like Last Jedi, bringing it back to that, is that like it subverts a lot of those expectations. But since people are so ingrained in what they think it has to be, that's why it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why I got a lot of flack for it.
Well, and with that, he's walking into something that's already made. It's already a world. It's already a franchise.
Hmm.
It it already has a fan base that has certain expectations. Whereas this film and Looper are its own entities.
And I feel like that's what really worked for this movie. Is that like there's expectations for what a who done it should be, but you can subvert those because it's such a versatile title,
Right.
and it's just a very general genre like mystery. Like that can be anything.
Right. Right.
So I
Yeah.
feel like that's what worked for Ryan Johnson in this
Yeah.
case.
I think one of the things I love bringing it back to that original classic whodunit is in the second half where Harlan Harlan is a huge fan of these mystery novels and classic whodunit books and writings,
Hmm.
and so he brings that back around in the second half when he's helping Marta cover this all up. He uses his knowledge of these things. He knows they have to figure out. He knows they have to make sure the timing is all right and that he's still
Hmm.
alive after she leaves. And they
Right.
there are witnesses that can prove he was alive, and I just love when people take their knowledge of those mysteries and closed room, like locked room murders and whatnot, and use
Hmm.
it to their advantage. And it's not, in this case, it's not in a deceptive way, because they're trying to, they don't know at this point that Ransom did it, so it's
Right.
innocence of like, we got to save Marta and make sure she's not put up for blame and whatnot. So in that case, I mean, I'm not like condoning, again, why do I always say okay, I'm not condoning murderers, but justice.
Well, it's not even
And
really a murder.
it's not, no, well, it's
I
attempted
mean, by
murder
the
from
end.
Ransom, but it's not murder on
Hmm.
Marta's part.
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
Well, by the end, they pretty much prove that everything is all connected and it was never her fault and she never actually did anything
Right,
wrong.
right. Yeah, it actually was a case of suicide.
Hmm. Because she is a good nurse.
She is, yeah. No, I love. She did such a good job. Can we just talk about how? Okay, let's just talk about how they were robbed at the Oscars, which they were, but they weren't, because there were so many good films this year that like it was a really competitive season. But like I would say, Ana de Armas was robbed of like even nominated. Like they should have been nominated for more at the very least. I
Right.
understand them
They only
not
got
winning,
nominated for
but
screenplay.
right, she should have been nominated for actress. And I
Hmm.
mean, she did so well. She's such a lovely, sweet character. She played this character that's so lovely and sweet, and you can't hate her, and you empathize with her, and just the moments when they're playing Go, and she's so sweet and such a wonderful caretaker to this old man, and there's such a, you can see their friendship and what she means to him, and just the confidant that he has from her. And yeah.
Though, for me, it was really weird watching this movie because before I saw this, I watched a movie with her and Keanu Reeves called Knock Knock. Have you ever
Oh,
seen that?
yeah. Oh man. Oh wow. Yeah.
So it was really weird watching this after having seen her in that because she's like the exact opposite.
Right. Which also just goes to show why she deserved a nomination.
Hmm. No, not to take away from her. No, she definitely deserved it.
But also, like, in terms of nominations, the design
Hmm.
was amazing. Again, keeping it in that like even just the house, the manner that they were in, you know, and kind of going away from that technology source. Although I will say again, yeah, this year had some big hitters in terms of design. So, you know, me and period pieces, like that's another story. The This movie has some good one-liners. Um it's it's a it's like a perfect mix, about a perfect balance between that drama, that mystery, and even the gore,
Hmm.
but then also the comedy. It's just this beautiful balance. And yeah,
Right.
some of the one-liners in this are
It all just works together really well
yeah,
in a lot of ways.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um I'm glad that they got a nomination for screenplay at the
Hmm.
very least. But
I mean, I feel like that's not to take away from anybody else, but that's of all the things that it could have been nominated for. I think that definitely is
right, well
probably
deserved.
the best part of it.
Yeah, it's hard to write.
Um,
It's hard to write a mystery and a who done it and make sure all the pieces fit together. You know, even just not even in a filmic sense, but in a novel sense. You know, you got to make sure it all
right,
works and that it makes sense and that it's logical.
and
So,
that there's no real plot holes that
right,
are
yeah,
gonna poke anything in the butt.
right.
Let's see what else. Yeah, but I lost to Parasite though, which is a shame. But it's good.
It is, but like again, there were some big hitters, so it was a competition.
You know,
You know, and
who can
it's
spend the
not
most
all
money?
about the Oscars and the Academy Awards and all your nominations.
Right.
Those are just nice to have
Hmm.
sometimes. Yeah.
Though Daniel Craig's sort of Foghorn Leghorn Kentucky Fried
Oh my gosh.
accent was a little weird. I kind of liked it though.
It was weird, but in a it just adds to the comedy
Right.
in a sense. And his freaking donut um analogy,
This donut.
and he can't
There's a
drop it.
hole inside that hole,
And our
and
donut
that
isn't a
is where
donut
everything
at
fits
all.
together.
He just can't drop the subject and keeps bringing it up. And we're like, okay, enough with the freaking donuts.
Well, which is, I think, part of what makes LeBlanc work as a
Right.
character is he's not above anybody, and he doesn't know everything,
Right.
and he's
Yeah.
not
Again,
high and mighty
he's
like a
imperfect
Sherlock.
in a human not in a human way. It's natural and
Hmm.
it's realistic and it works.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like so. I remember when they first announced a sequel.
Oh yeah.
I was really surprised that they were going to do a sequel to any kind of mystery because I feel like it's hard to do that and make it good. But when they sort of gave more details and it was going to be like a LeBlanc mystery, I
Right.
was a little more intrigued because I feel like
Like
that's a good idea.
I can get on with a sequel if it's a LeBlanc sequel, not if
Hmm.
it's a sequel of this story. We don't need any more for this story or this family.
Because it's
Maybe
over.
maybe if he like I would be okay if he brought Marta along as his Watson, like
Right.
whatever, sure. I love her and it would be great. But yeah, if you know, I think the only thing the sequel needs is that it brings back LeBlanc and it has a whole new
Hmm.
story. But it'll be interesting and I guess difficult and a challenge, and that's maybe the point to make it different because this
Hmm.
one was so direct in I don't know. Like they can't have the sequel. They can't make the sequel have the same format, or it's just going to be like, okay, we've been here before. You change the
Right.
characters, you change the faces, and you change the scenario, but it's the exact same format. So I think that's where it'll
Well,
be interesting to see how that.
and the other interesting thing is like, do we see the whole thing from LeBlanc's perspective? Because it's, like we talked about earlier, it's kind of like two movies.
Right? Yeah.
We learn everything LeBlanc knows, and then we sort of learn what happened, and then we sort of loop back around. Because I would
Yeah.
say that, like, for the first half, it's about LeBlanc, and then as soon as we get into Marta, it becomes her story, and it's about her, and she's the main
Definitely.
character.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it makes her the main character the whole time. Like, she's definitely more involved than anybody else. It starts off with her. It's like she's obviously the main character, but we see it from LeBlanc's perspective
Yeah.
initially, and then hers. So, would you want to see something like that, or do we follow it only from LeBlanc's perspective, or do we have another second character that we follow partway through the story, or
Well,
does that get into the problem with just doing the same thing
yeah. I
again?
feel like you got to find a new way to do it because that just gets into the repetition problem. So I don't know.
Or so, since they sort of subverted the general whodunit, does he do something more like a noir,
Ooh.
where it's like
Yeah.
someone comes to him, and we sort of see it like that?
Him. Yeah.
So, like, someone comes to LeBlanc, he's in his office, she's got legs for miles.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm not like, I won't say it's like the top on my list of like excited movies to see. But I will see it.
Curious.
Yeah. I'm also, I'll wait till a trailer comes out to see if I'll see it in theaters or not or whatever. But,
Right.
you know, give them time. It's also, I trust Ryan Johnson will use his brains to, I mean, he was brilliant enough to write this one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah. As long as he has enough free reign. But
As long as there's a good idea.
it's also like, is it one of those things that really needs a sequel?
Avatar.
Like, I would be.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Avatar sequel in like 10 years.
Oh man, yeah. I don't even know. Like, I would be perfectly content if they just left it as is, and then he went on to go make another film. It's completely different. I see the appeal of having a sequel, and
Right.
but I feel like these days, every sequel is just for money. Every sequel is made just for the
cash
course of
grab.
making money. It's not necessarily for the story. Like, it's not like he necessarily wrote Knives Out with the intention of making a whole LeBlanc series or a sequel, or so it's like we're just doing it because money. We have an audience and a fan base now, and we can we can get it produced since the first one did so well. So it's like, at what point does your story and your design and your production downgrade because of that?
Well, I feel like you see that in a lot of other movies with sequels. Like, if they don't plan to have a sequel and they get one, or like a director leaves, those sorts of things I feel like make the sequel worse.
Oh,
or they just
100%.
rehash
Yeah.
the first one. Like this is a weird example, but Pitch Perfect. Like, the first one is really good by itself. The second one is basically just the first one again. And then they made a third one that was nothing like either of them, but was still really bad.
Right. See, and there's a difference between intentionally writing for a series, for a sequel, something like, well,
Star
Wars, yeah, or like Harry Potter, but that's an adaptation, or Lord of the Rings, like, no, they're adaptation. But like, I mean, maybe like Alien, they did a good job with well, I was gonna say Jurassic Park. But compared to like, Pitch Perfect, or like, all these animated movies, what we were talking about, Spies in Disguise, and like they left it in with an ending that kind of, you know, could infer a sequel will be made. And it's like, do we really need one? Are we just doing it for the sake of money?
Yeah.
Yes. So
I feel like you don't get a lot of one-offs of anything anymore.
Right. And that's why I'm almost disappointed they announced a sequel. Because it's like, why can't we just let it be as it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's so brilliant on its own. Why do we need to try to make it better and fail? Most likely. So
it's really hard to do a good sequel.
yeah. Yeah, you don't get a lot of one-offs these days. Well, I lied because almost every film this year from 2019 was kind of a one-off. Like 1917, Parasite, Jojo Rabbit, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But okay, aside, it's still hard, you know, and it goes back to, again, our constant need as audience members to have new, fresh content, but not even new and fresh in that it's completely unknown, because at the same time, we want to have some kind of comfort in familiarity. You know, I think that's why television is so profound right now, because you're familiar with a series and characters and a story, but you still get new content. So, yeah, it's hard.
But this is like a whole other podcast we could get into about
for
sequels and their validity.
For sure, yeah. But, you know, it's just
sort of
interesting to think about.
Speculating.
Yeah, before you immediately go into, we gotta have a sequel, which I am definitely guilty of doing.
Right.
And I can hear, there are people in my head, people that I know that are, I can hear them shouting at me to stop pitching sequels. But that's also a podcast for another day.
Well, we got a little bit of time left.
We do.
So I think we should just dive into some random topics.
Yeah, maybe do more than one. We'll see how long this one takes, I guess. It doesn't, you know, ending early is not a bad thing. Okay, here we go. We're going to shake it up. All right.
That's a great sound effect.
It is. What do we have? What is the most annoying thing about your phone?
The most annoying thing about my phone, eh?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the carousel feature that I like, so if I can't just keep endlessly swiping it one way or the other.
Oh.
I have to go one way, it stops, go the other way to stop it.
Okay.
It's a big pain in the butt. Also, my thumb sensor doesn't work as well as I would like first world problems.
That's fair.
You know how they are.
Yeah. I think the most annoying thing with my phone is that the charger doesn't connect very well. It's like really loose in the port, and so it falls out easily.
You should try getting a wireless charger. That might help.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Yes, don't take it to the store. They will try and sell you a new phone. That's what happened to me, and I got really mad.
Yeah, I'm trying to make my phone...
And it turned out a wireless charger would have fixed my entire problem.
I'm trying to make this phone last as long as I can, but I think it already is starting to fade on me. Which is, I mean, I've had it for 2 years, which is, you know...
What kind of phone is it?
It's a Galaxy.
Which one?
S10e.
Oh, that'll wirely charge, no problem.
Ooh.
That's what I have,
I'll look into that, yeah. Okay.
Let me see what I got.
Yeah, what else is, I don't know if there's anything else annoying about my phone. My phone's a pretty decent phone.
Yeah, I got a 10e.
I used to have an iPhone.
Wireless charger.
And
that'll fix it.
Jumped over from it because...
Good.
I did not like it.
Good. iPhones are the worst.
Yeah. Sorry.
Shall we do another one?
Yeah, let's do another. Okay. Okay. What is this? What? Would you stab yourself for $1 million?
Yes, 100%.
I mean,
no
student debt, am I right?
It doesn't even say kill yourself. It just says stab yourself.
Right. So I watch enough movies that I know where the big blood vessels are and whatnot, so I know what to avoid.
I stab myself for free all the time.
Yeah.
You tell me I could have been making money?
I mean, $1 million. You could use a portion of that to heal yourself.
Do you know how many movies I could make with that? Maybe one.
Maybe one movie. Yeah.
Maybe one movie.
Oh, man. Yikes.
Maybe a good short. Maybe a decent commercial.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
all right, it's enough for 30 seconds.
Yeah, you get a 15-second spot and $1 million. What are you gonna do? All I can think about is the lasagna shots that Patrick would always rave about for McCormick. We got to make the perfect lasagna for a 15-second spot.
Well, duh.
Obviously.
Lasagna's the best.
No, I want lasagna.
Oh, that sounds really good. I'm making waffles later. I'll be fine.
Ooh, for dinner? Waffles for dinner?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good any time of day.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a waffle maker. Sad. I can make pancakes, though. Well, that's not the same.
My waffle maker's Death Star shaped.
Oh, hell yeah. Ooh, yes. Wait. So is it just a... Oh, it just has the... Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, if it was a 3D waffle Death Star...
That'd be pretty impressive.
Can you imagine? I gave my dad a few years ago Death Star ice cube makers. Well,
that's
ice ball makers, I guess.
Yeah.
So they're pretty dope. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna make cookies though. I have cookie ingredients. That sounds good too. Yeah. I
just buy cookies because I'm lazy.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've been watching too much British Baking Show.
Though, no, I've been watching a ton the last few days. I really want to just bake a giant cake.
I just want all their bread.
Oh, bread is the best.
I know, fresh bread out of the oven. Okay, everyone's salivating now.
We should probably just end it here before everybody gets mad at us for making them hungry.
So this might be a little bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. That just means you have more time to go back
to listen to other episodes.
And listen to other episodes.
Maybe we left clues. Who knows?
Ooh. Bum, bum, bum. Well, yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Tune
in next time where we might have a special mystery guest.
Ooh. Wait,
There's your mystery for our Knives Out episode.
We know other people, Gavin?
No.
Who are we kidding? It's your cat. The guest is your cat.
Yeah, Stitch will be on the podcast.
Duh. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Have a good week, and we'll see you next Friday. Well, we'll hear you. You'll hear us? How does that work?
Hear us next Friday.
There you go. All right. Bye.
Wherever you get podcasts. Bye.